What's up, people? I am back for another video. We're continuing down with the Unbreakable series with the second entry, Split, which came out. It was released at a festival in 2016, but I think it was released worldwide in 2017. So I saw it not long after it came out, and then I remember really liking it. I didn't love it, because I remember when it came out, everyone was loving this movie. And I remember being the only one, I thought it was good, but I didn't love it. And definitely rewatching it last night, I love it a lot more than I did. James McAvoy, man, his performance in this, the way he's able to switch characters, going from Hedwig to the Beast is more in the end, but Barry to Kevin to Patricia, even he can change his whole demeanor. The way he played it was so good. And I gotta give it to the girls. Mainly Anya, but I think even other girls did a solid good job at portraying being terrified, not knowing what was gonna happen. So basically, the premise is the movie opens up. We just see these group of girls. It seems all normal, and then they get in a car, and then their dad gets taken out, and then Kevin gets in the car, basically knocks him out and kidnaps him, and then this is where we get a little bit of his backstory, which those are probably my favorite scenes in the entire movie, because it was interesting considering Kevin, for all intents and purposes, was the villain of the movie, and how you get his backstory, you see him going to Dr. Karen Fletcher. She gives him, we learn about his life, and how he had his dad ran out and his mom was abusive. We learn about his personalities, the way they weave that in simultaneously while going back to, him talking to the girls. The way he's just able to switch characters is done very well. And basically the girls try to escape, but every time they get caught, so they get separated, and we see Claire, the main chick, Anya's character, Casey, sorry, try to get close to Hedwig because she's trying to, get out. And then when we finally, when he becomes the Beast, finally, I'm not gonna lie, it was the shots, the cinematography is probably one of the more underrated things about this film. And like I said, we can go in about M. Night's I'm not gonna necessarily say he's an awful director. I won't necessarily say he's good, but he definitely tried to bring it back. This was M. Night at his best. I wish he kept the momentum for Glass, which we will get to next week. And honestly, the thing about this movie, if you cut out the David Dunn part in the end, you can honestly watch this as a one-off. Same with Unbreakable. You can honestly watch this as a one-off movie. It ends and it has just Split, and then it cuts to David Dunn. You can cut it there. So we see them try to escape, and then eventually he gets discovered by Karen, and he kidnaps her, and then this is where we get the arrival of the Beast. And I'll admit, that scene was done so beautifully. James McAvoy, man, really good actor. I've always thought he was a good actor. I thought he was great in Wanted. I thought he was awesome as Professor X in the later, in First Class, Days of Future Past. Even though I didn't necessarily love the film, I thought he was awesome in Apocalypse. He's what made some of the more really bad later X-Men movies tolerable. So, but him in this movie is something else. Anya Taylor-Joy did great. And the thing is, I like how realistic they did the girls. You had the other two girls that are we're gonna fight them. This was in the beginning of the movie, and Casey's no, that is not fucking smart. We're gonna get our ass whooped. She tries to play it smart, But and I like the little connection they built in Split, but I think they go a little too far in Glass, where they almost make them a couple. I think they did it subtly in this movie. They had a little connection, but they didn't. I think in Glass they go way too far on the other side, to where I'm this guy killed your friends. You're just gonna forget that? But anyway, but awesome movie overall. If you want to just watch an actor play a character or characters, That's what I would really just watch this movie for. Yeah, it's not going to be a movie I'm going to watch all the time, but definitely, if you just want to see like a great performance for, it's not even that long, like close to 2 hours, I think it is. You get a really good performance. So, but besides that, tomorrow I'm going to be watching Top Gun 2. So I'm going to try to get my review out tomorrow. If not tomorrow, Sunday for sure. But definitely I do want to, I'll try to review it tomorrow, honestly. Because I'm really hyped for Top Gun 2. So that's my plan. But other than that, we're going to get started on a Split. Cheers. Sorry about that. The movie opens up. We just see these girls hanging out with their family, like things like I like how like it seems normal. You don't like nothing seems like it's wrong, but then they get in their car. Cassie like looks at the rear view mirror, and her dad's like, or I think it was the other girl's dad was taken out. Then Kevin gets in the car, and I like how casually he just gets into like he just gets in like nothing is wrong. Then he chloroforms the three girls, and then basically that's kind of opens the film, and then we get a little bit of his backstory. We see him going to these meetings with Dr. Karen Fletcher, and he's talking about how his personalities work, and that there's a 24th one that isn't out. And those are like some of my favorite scenes in the movie. Minus like besides the scenes where he's actually being the characters, I really like the backstory. Because yeah, he's like the villain of the movie, but we're actually looking into his story. It's kind of interesting. You know, in a way, he's like the protagonist, but even though he's the antagonist, it's very weird. Not weird, but like it's done in such an awesome way. Because yeah, he's like the protagonist, but he's not. it's very good. But then we cut back to like, and I love like the first scene where you actually see him be a character, because he comes in as just Kevin, and then like next scene he comes in as I think Barry. And the girls are all like weird, like what the fuck, what? And then when he comes in as Hedwig the first time, which is the 9-year-old boy character, oh my god, it is done so good. And I think, granted, I know I'm jumping to the next movie, but Glass, we could shit on the ending, but James McAvoy's performance, in my opinion, is far better in that than in this, and he's really good in this. Because in that he's like way more characters. In this, he's kind of mainly. It goes from Kevin to Barry to Patricia to Hedwig and then the Beast in the end. Like he kind of just goes between those characters mainly. Whereas in Glass, it's like simultaneously character changes. But I digress. But like yeah, those scenes are like some of my favorite scenes in the entire movie, man. The way he plays it. And in my opinion, this dude should have won Oscars for that. You know, we can have the problems with the movies all we want, but he should have got something for that. And yeah, we can say Oscars aren't worth anything, but it's like, he should have gotten something just because how good he played it in this movie. And honestly, the girls, I thought all the girls did a good job. I think the only real girl I thought was kind of a weak link was the, not Claire, but her other friend. She didn't really do it for me. But yeah, Anya Taylor-Joy was great. The scenes where she was like trying to play it smart, and I liked that, like, because she was getting into an argument with her friend, because the other girls were like, let's just rush him, let's jump him, and she's like, we're gonna get our ass whooped. We gotta play it smart. And then every now and then you kind of get her backstory too. Like you see that, you know, she was hunting. Initially, I was a little confused at first, even rewatching this. I thought, wait, is this his backstory? Oh, it's Casey's. But then, yeah, we learned that she was abused by her dad's friend after his death. And granted, I know I'm jumping ahead a bit, but I do like that, like how you, and they do it in a way where they, like, especially Casey's, because Casey's are legit flashbacks. With the Beast, it's mainly him, not the Beast, but Kevin. it's just kind of him talking about it. Where yeah, with Casey's, it's legit flashbacks. They did a good job of doing them like in a way where the transition is natural. Because there are some times in movies when they do flashbacks, they're very unnatural how they go into them. This was like a nice, easy, and they're also really quick. They don't make them long, so you're spending an entire scene on them. It's just you're kind of getting, because this is her. They play it for like her trying to escape. So Claire, the other friend, tries to escape, but ends up getting separated. Is the first one who gets separated, and then the next morning, this is where we get him as Patricia, and oh my god, he played it. I'm not gonna lie, I was laughing a bit, but because he did a really good job at playing like portraying a woman, like he dressed like one, like and I usually am not a big fan of the whole guy in a dress thing, but they didn't really do that. They just kind of had him more talk feminine, so they did that really good. But then yeah, so basically throughout the film, you see him going to more meetings, which I actually like those. I know I said that before, but I really love those scenes where he's talking to Karen Fletcher, because you're getting like his psyche, and it's done in a way. Granted, it is a lot of exposition, but it's still done in a way where it isn't just exposition. You actually are feeling like his character, because James McAvoy is such a good actor. So later that night, Casey ends up kissing Hedwig. You get that kind of scene. I thought that scene was done in a way it wasn't forced. And then you see she's trying to get close to Kevin because she's trying to find a way out. But he takes her to his room, and she thinks he has like a window, but no, it's like a drawn window. She tries to escape, but like because he gives her like a walkie-talkie, but she ends up failing, and she ends up getting captured, and then they're all separated. And yeah, later that night he goes to see he brings Karen Fletcher over. And I think the thing about this movie too, the pacing's really good. Like it doesn't feel like it drags or it's too short. You get just enough, but it also it's not too long either. So yeah, he brings her over, but while going looking for the bathroom, she discovers Claire on the floor. And this is basically, we're getting close to the arrival of the beast now. So basically, yeah, so Karen gets chloroformed and, knocked out. He ends up coming and transforming into the beast. While this is happening, Casey escapes her, tries to escape. And I actually do like those scenes, because I think they did a good job of portraying the horror pretty decently. Like, I wouldn't call this flat out a horror movie. I consider it's more of a drama or maybe even a thriller, but it does have some horror scenes. Like the scene where she breaks out, the lighting, have this red tint, looks really good. So this is where we get him first transforming, which was really awesome. And basically the beast is his last personality, which is this enhanced superhuman being, basically. Basically, he wants to rid the world of the unpure, essentially. So he ends up killing Karen Fletcher, which I thought that scene was pretty brutal. And I actually liked that the way they built up the beast, because they just talked about him and they didn't bring him in too early. I do think in Glass they do more try to bring him in way earlier than initially done, but I thought in this the build up was done really well. Especially when he finally transforms. But yeah, he ends up killing Claire and her friend. So Casey tries to escape. She gets he bites her, but he manages to evade, and you can tell that bullets don't work on it because she shoots him a bunch of times and it doesn't work. And yeah, she then hides behind a lock, like a gate, and he nearly is through the bars, and he's talking about what he does, and then the more he sees, she realizes she's actually pure, and even says it, and he basically lets her go after that. And yeah, Anya Taylor-Joy really did a good job in this. I think of all of the chicks, she's probably the best. She did a really good job of portraying the terror, and Casey's a good character, simple. And the thing is, this movie's not that old. It's only like 5 years old, about 5, 6 years old. And but Hollywood acts like they can't do women now. It's like this movie is only 5 to 6 years old, and you can't even do good modern women. But this movie can't. Granted, M Night when he's actually tries is actually really good. You know, I can get it. I can go in on him for focusing too much on you know on twists. Especially, I'm going to say that a lot in the Glass review, but when he's actually on it, he's on it. So, yeah, Casey's a great character. Her performance also, like, she really was believable. Like, oh, dude, she's scared to death. So she ends up getting let go. The police arrive. They end up finding like the compound, and there's a scene where like the officer lets her know like, oh, your stepdad, or your owner or your basically the person who takes care of her. Her guardian, there you go. Her guardian is there, and you can tell she's apprehensive because this is where we learn that he basically abuses her and like that's the thing. Like the storytelling in this movie is done very well. And I just wish M. Night would tap into this M. Night. Like, I wouldn't say, I think Unbreakable is still the best of the three, but I do think this is really good. Especially for performances. And then we see the Beast now, he actually can control the Beast, and we're actually seeing him control all the personalities now, which I thought that scene was really good. And that was pretty much the last of we see of him. And at this point, you can honestly end the movie if you don't want to, like, especially if you really hated Glass, you can watch this as a one-off. Like, if you don't even want to connect it and look at Unbreakable as a trilogy, or Unbreakable had a sequel, you can just watch this as its own movie. Like, if you cut it here, after, he talks about, like, oh, we taken over, you could cut it here. But then, yeah, it ends, and then we see the news talking about the Beast, and then they mention Mr. Glass, and that's when David Dunn shows up, and I thought the cameo was okay. So basically, this is where we get the reveal that this is in the world of Unbreakable. And then the film ends. Awesome film. Very underrated. I definitely like it a lot more than I liked it at the time. I don't know. Maybe it was just because how much everyone was praising it at the time. I almost was like, okay, it's not that good. But I still think it's not that good. But it's definitely really good. Like, especially performance-wise. Like, James McAvoy really killed it as Kevin. The way he was able to do the multiple personalities, and it's just natural, and he also doesn't feel like a tryhard. Because there's some people who try to portray crazy people, and they're overdoing it, and it comes off believable. And like the moment he finally becomes the Beast is really awesome. And Anya Taylor-Joy, she was awesome in this movie as Casey. I thought getting her flashbacks and her backstory was done in a way where it didn't get in the way of the movie, and she was a good character. And I haven't watched Glass in a while, but I don't know if her character is as good in that one, but we'll see because that's the next one. But before I go into that, overall, this is a great movie, and if you really didn't like Glass, you can watch this movie as a one-off, like I mentioned. Well, because it gives you the title split, and then that's where we get the David Dunn scene. You could cut it there and just watch it as a one-off movie, and like a study about this dude's, multiple personality disorder type of movie, But yeah, if I were to give this out of 10, definitely like an 8.5 out of 10. Awesome film. Score was pretty fun. Not like, it doesn't stand out, but it's still pretty good. And then, but yeah, we're going to be doing Glass now, or next week. Glass is, fuck. The thing with Glass, I liked it up until that goddamn ending, because I actually loved, like, seeing them all together. And I was kind of interested to see where they were going with this, like, this institution that knows what they are. But then that goddamn ending. What the fuck? You killed David Dunn in a goddamn puddle? Like, that's it? And the fact that M. Night turned down money. Like, this is the truth. He turned down money. Like, they offered, like, the studio offered to give him money to, like, do, like, an actual final battle, and they're like, he's like, no, because he wanted to do this. We gotta subvert expectation. Oh, we're not gonna have a final battle. No, you just had a shit ending. Because you know what ends up happening? That's all people fucking remember from this movie. Because I'm gonna be honest, I said it. Like, James McAvoy, in my opinion, his performance is way better in this than in Split, and he was really goddamn good in Split. But the characters in this, he's way more characters, and he changes it like that. Like, it's so natural how he changes it, and even like Samuel Jackson's performance was pretty good up until that point, and then they fucking end it like that. Like, really? So I'll be going in on that next week. But other than that, tomorrow I'm gonna be watching Top Gun 2. So, and I'll try to review it tomorrow. If I don't get a review tomorrow, it'll be Sunday. But yeah, it's definitely I'm really hyped for Top Gun 2. Like, I initially wasn't, because I was even in the camp of, did it really need a sequel? But how good, like, everyone was saying it was, and also the fact that, like, I'm just always down for a good a continuation story. So, and I enjoy the trailers too, so I'm gonna review that. Definitely watch that tomorrow. Try to review it tomorrow, or more than likely will. I'll try to. It'll probably be a little bit earlier in the day though. But yeah. Other than that, I am gonna take a hit. Peace out. As usual, fuck Warner Brothers, fuck Disney, and fuck the Biden administration. I'll talk to y'all tomorrow. Peace.